pool. And, I mean, if we see Isonu playing to that yet again, then I could definitely see him taking the win. But if he's going to go toe-to-toe with Harstem in a longer macro game, like if he plays in that sort of way to allow Harstem to get comfortably into the macro game, I think it's going to be a lot harder for him. But, I mean, we did see that game versus Petit Drogo on Leralat Crest, where he did really, really well. So now, at this point, I'm going to say it can go in any direction, but I'm actually going to favor Isonu here, so I'm going to say 2-1 Isonu.
Yeah, something interesting I wanted to point out is Harstem actually chose Orena as the first map. Yeah. And that's interesting because the first match we saw in Orena between these two, Isonu destroyed Harstem with some quick roach aggression. Like, really, really made Harstem just look, like, for as good of a player as Harstem is, Isonu on Orena made him look like he didn't know what he was doing in ZVP.
So Joe, before we go further, what's your prediction?
I say 2-1 Isonu.
Okay, so here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Our first map is going to be Yorina, and we have him in the bottom left-hand corner, playing for IG Invictus Gaming as the Red Zerg. It's going to be Isonu.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting.
It was alright, it was alright.
There we go, finally.
Okay, yeah, and his opponent up here from Invasion Esports, it is going to be Harstem. Blue Protoss contestant traveling all the way over from the Netherlands here to Shanghai to play.
So, it's something I just want to point out, like, really quick, why I don't favor Isonu here, unless he goes for Zergling drops on this map, which is amazing. I just want to say, Isonu, we've seen him play against Byung in the Heart of the Swarm. We've seen him play against some Koreans. When Isonu feels he's better than someone, he will play straight up. When he feels he's worse than someone, he's going to cheese like crazy. And that's why I feel he might not be that confident against Harstem, because from what I heard from you guys, it felt like the super aggressive I'm from China Isonu rather than the I can win against anything Isonu.
Yeah, like in a straight up, yeah. I mean, that's actually a wise point to bring up here. Isonu actually opening up with a gas pool and then a hatchery, so already switched, playing, a bit unorthodox from how you generally want to do things here. But I mean, Arena is a bit of a funky map, so could be that, coming into play.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the map is really predictive of how Isonu plays. He's a guy that doesn't just kind of play matchups in a way. He plays to the map, and I think that's a sign of a really strong player. Like, Orena has a very short rush distance, and Isonu knows how to exploit that. Ruins of Ceres, he exploited the drop, ledges, the big blind spot that Harstem had in his base. And we're going to see if Isonu chooses to just kind of play straight up after this ling pressure, or if he continues to pile into further and harder aggression after these first few lings.
Again, the pylon there to just block things off, slow things down a little for Isonu. I mean, last game on this map, we saw that Roach Ravager ling all in, just completely crushing Harstem. And I mean, if we see that again, I think it would do very well, to be honest, with the setup that Harstem has right now, because I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of infrastructure. He's actually stuck on the exact same layout in terms of buildings as we saw in that very first map between these two.
Yeah, but the difference here is IA not going for that quick Roach Warren, unlike in the first series, so he's going to just be kind of droning up.
Yeah, so...
Finally!
Yes! Okay, no, so I just wanted to note, like, this map is a great pick from Harstem if you know what can happen, because it's really difficult, like, I want to stress it, really difficult to play a long drawn-out game as a Zerg on this map. That's why you see people like Dog, for instance, having some really cool drop play, like the most early drops you can have, like 14 pull into drops, and those kind of styles are very popular. Seeing Isonu go into macro on this map, it's just really mind-boggling to me. Like I know he's more straight up in Legacy Void, and we've seen him so many times in Legacy Void, but being this confident against Harstem, it's almost terrifying as a thought.
Yeah, I mean, he really shut down Harstem initially, looked very powerful against him, so I don't blame him for being confident against the guy. He smacked Harstem around in the first series, and I think that can give him a bit of a mental edge going in here, and maybe that makes you feel comfortable playing a bit of a macro game.
I mean, it does look like it, because that third hatchery is soon going to be done, grabbing his second gas, so we should see that last starting shortly as well. I mean, for now, as that Overlord comes in, the scouts don't know if he actually saw that Robo go down, because it is going to be in the natural. But I mean, for now, just not really too much of a weird game from any of these two players. Harstem, I mean, seemingly going to be opening up with an death drop, but moreover than that, don't think it's going to be super crazy. Immortal actually started there. Never mind.
So coming into the game we saw, by the way, versus BT Drogo, we saw IA eventually going into Broodlords. This map is amazing for Broodlords, like absolutely amazing. Just worth.
Oh yeah, that's true. So much airspace, and then lots of tight angles and stuff like that are hard for Protoss to get into position under those broods.
Yeah, but hold up for a minute here. Isuno has that spine crawler down, mirroring a bit of what Harstem did before, and now an evolution chamber coming down. Force field block in this queen. Isuno's being forced to make the defense with mostly just queens here, and that's a very uncomfortable situation for him to be in. A third queen comes down from the natural to help fight, but another one gets cleaned up. These Zerglings finally getting on top of the sentries. Recall is forced out, but that was really nice for Harstem.
A good start here already. Finding those two queens, a very nice pick-off. But I mean, for now, it's just the distance between the two players isn't really that great, so creep spreading, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue here for Isonu, but nonetheless, third base here for Harstem on the way, and additional gas is being taken as well.
Man, I love the spine crawler positioning of IA here. Like, how often do we see Protosses just continuously push there and abuse the fact that Protoss units have a longer range? Now this spine crawler is going to be here to help hold this down, but the Immortal from Harstem adds a lot of DPS onto this army, and this is actually going to be a very scary moment for our Chinese Zerg here, who's starting to try to get into a defensive posture as Harstem pushes in. The stream is freezing at the worst time possible. Take it away, Tenchi.
Oh man, it's frozen for me as well, so we're all stuck in the same boat here, guys.
Uh-oh.
So
Refreshing.
the one good thing here could be, this does happen sometimes where the internet at the venue fails, and like we'll all get back in and they're just coming off a pause, so hopefully that's what's going on.
Yeah, it's bad when you're actually hoping for the venue's internet to fail. But yeah, right now the stream is at 0% for me. I'm gonna check the Do You stream right now and see what's going on there.
Yeah, I'll pull that up as well, guys. Our policy is basically just to get a stream on as quickly as possible, whenever possible.
The Do You is also having a problem. It seems like there's something going on, either with the venue stream or our connecting to China.
No, I mean, if we're all having issues and we're on different continents, it's definitely the venue stream here. But we're gonna try to get things back up as quickly as possible for you guys here. I'm hitting all the streams possible with my live streamer. It looks like it's finding a stream is live streamer on a Do You, so hopefully we should have something up in just a moment for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't get anything up and running just now, then we'll cut it a quick break and troubleshoot a little further, guys. So, in case you come back and there's a break going on, don't panic. Not going to be the end of the world here, boys.
Yeah, you can take this time, by the way. Grab a drink, grab a beverage, or whatever have you.
Yeah, find some snacks, guys. I mean, it's early in the day. It's only 1 o'clock right now, so.
Exactly. It's great snack time.
Yeah,
you know, actually, I actually sinned. I bought a Ben & Jerry's yesterday.
Nice.
How is that a sin?
Ah, dude, it's not good for you, man. It's like, you sit down, you see like, oh, there's so much ice cream, and half an hour later, you just regret eating everything so quickly. I didn't eat everything, of course. Like, I ate a bit piece of it, but like, oh, man, the regrets afterwards.
Yeah, well, guys, right now, not having too much success reconnecting, so we will cut it to a quick break before we return, hopefully. So make sure to stay tuned.
Yep, guys, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, just wanted to hop back in and explain something. Literally every stream language just died. So hopefully they're holding the games. I gotta think every stream language died. The stream to every platform died. This is making me think it's the internet connection at the venue, which would of course mean the games will be held. We don't want you guys to miss these games. There's a French stream and a Polish stream going on now. The O Gaming guys are covering it in French. You're welcome to check that out, but as far as I can tell, they're down too. So we're going to cut to a break while we try to talk to our contact in China, figure out what's going on, and get back as quickly as possible here at the GPL WCS Shanghai. Who is Sabu? Oh, okay. But that's not, Wait, is the last group getting venue casting? Yeah, but are you doing the group? Okay. Lucas, just chill. Well, I mean, it's a Chinese stream. Like, everyone knows what's up. Man, this feed we found, though, was really good until it died. Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. We had a bit of a technical failure there. I'm not sure where we are in this series, but we are back, guys. They're not cutting to an interview, which means this isn't over yet, so I'm 100% sure of that. We've got our lovely Chinese casters here. We're just trying to figure out where exactly we are. The internet at the venue definitely died. So I'm not sure if they continued and finished that map and we're going to be jumping into the next map in the series, or if they actually held that map. Unfortunately, I don't speak Chinese. I see people saying it's network problems. So I'm thinking maybe we got lucky and we didn't miss a bit of the action. That's my hope.
Hopefully. By the way, Joe, I see on the stream right now you're looking so handsome. You're the guy to the right?
What? Yeah, to the right.
Yeah, Lucas to the left, and I'm just somewhere underneath the table, you know. I wasn't allowed in the picture because I'm too big.
Our overlay guys not set up.
We only
okay,
missed, like,
beautiful.
a few seconds.
Yeah, guys, so we're resuming from replay here. Harstem just managed to push through the spine crawler as he continues to pile on the aggression into Ayasunu's base. All of these units getting on. A force field goes down at the back, blocking out all of these Zerglings. And it looks like there's a lot of firepower here from Harstem, who's continuing to pile damage onto these drones. Ayasunu doing as best he can to get as many units as possible here. Queens and a single Roach fighting with drones, but it looks like it's just too much for a Chinese Zerg player who could fall here as these units continue to do damage. They're tucked in a beautiful position in the mineral line, and every single Roach of Ayasunu is evaporating. He needs to get down one of those immortals. Two of them at a time is just too much damage, but now there's another queen coming out, and it might be enough to hold here for Ayasuno as these units continue to fall. Recall is forced out, and IA lives to fight another day at very least.
That was intense, man. You were going hard at it. Behind this, I mean, additional infrastructure being thrown down. There is a war prism here. That was a bit of a weird build, really, from Harstem, but he hit a really good timing there. Like, Isonu having barely any units, and, well, I mean, he did a ton of damage, so now all of a sudden, Isonu down in supply, down in workers, and the tech here from Harstem is going to kick into action. But bear in mind, all space did go down here, but Harstem does see the creep, so, I mean, he knows it's there.
Yeah, and he's got I was going to say a warp prism out on the map, which allows him to really put the pain down on that fourth base, and bases are the only thing Ayasuno is ahead in right now. Harstem pushing across the map as Ayasuno makes some Ravagers. It's all going to see where this Ravager production lines up.
Yeah, gonna see two Immortals right now coming out. We do have the War Prism as well, can warp in quite a few units right here onto the creep. And, well, we do have a few Ravagers, might help out here. Nice corrosive blast right on top of that War Prism. That's an important snipe going to get the Immortal as well. Beautiful so far by Ayasonu, but this is just way too many units right now for Harstem.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff, man. No additional reinforcements now. Like you said, that's death of the War Prism, absolutely key for this. I mean, if that would have remained up, then that would have probably been a completely different game. I mean, Harstem could have continuously reinforced, but now all of a sudden he's going to back off there towards the center of the map, take control it over this Zelnaga tower. And I mean, just now he's biding his time, getting a second Robo, adding in a few additional Phoenix here. But, I mean, still, Isonu's still in a weird position because he's only at 54 drones. Like, his economy is a lot weaker than he really wants it to be.
Yeah, but now all these Phoenixes come across, they're going to continue to pile on the damage to his already weak economy, like you mentioned, Lucas. And Ayasuno adding on spores to respond, but with his low drone count, spores are the last thing he wants to be making, and Harstem's going to continue to pick away damage at all of these overlords. Oh man, this is looking like a really good spot for invasions, Harstem.
So Harstem was pretty clever here. Like, the push he did first wasn't really an all-in or anything like that, although it might have looked for like it if it was on two bases. Rather, he was going for a very solid kind of composition and just did this kind of, I guess you could call it timing, like small aggression just to bait out units and maybe kill some stuff, which actually dealt quite a bit of damage. Now we're going to see Harstem, like, he's just so solid, has so many Immortals right now, just cranking out. Yes, he charged on the way as well. Like, this is just spelling disaster for Ayasone if he just can't make enough Hydras in time.
I mean, it's going to finish up now, but will he have time here to stay alive? Lots of Ravages being morphed, but I mean, that means Roaches that can't respond to the army movement. However, Harstem, I think he's playing it a little bit too cautiously. Like, already, when he went out with that move out with the War Prism there, I still think he could have continuously pushed up a little bit further. So he's just playing it so careful. I guess it's because he knows it's the ace game, everything on the line right now in this best of three, so doesn't want to take any risks, but it might end up backfiring.
Yeah, but it looks like Spore Crawler is going to be moved forward. I think IA wants to try to take a fight in that open area between his second and third as he burrows a Spore to try to deal with the Phoenixes. One Ravager gets picked up. Corrosive Biles are not the best AA in this position. You end up nuking your own units, which really sucks when you're already down an army supply, as Ayasuno is, but he's trying his best to make things happen. He's adding on those Hydras, and those are going to be the units that actually shoot up as opposed to spell up, and that's such a crucial difference in terms of having a stable army that can contest the Phoenix Protoss composition that Harstem has. So it's just going to be a matter of, can Ayasuno get there? Can he ball up enough? And then can he take the correct engagement with a wide concave?
It's very important also to note right now that in Harstem's army there is a changeling. It will soon die, but it still has been all this time. So Ayasona knows exactly where Harstem is and where he's going. Right now, Ayasona is actually splitting off quite a few links so he can counterattack when he needs to. And if these don't die, Harstem will have a really hard time actually engaging his opponent, because he knows with this amount of links he will need quite a few units to defend with. And we could also see like Ayasona's army try to attack around as well into the natural or the third base.
Yeah, this is really nice, man. This is exactly what he did versus Petit Drogo. Started sending lings across the map once he got comfortable on that full base economy. And I mean, now up to 68 drones, so he is sort of back there in the seat and gets a couple of decent corrosive biles, in fact. Actually takes down one of these Archons, but has to be so careful to not step off this creep. Mass lifts going down here as the Phoenix are going to be taking a lot of these units up into the air, and they're going to be taken effectively out of the fight. And right now, Harstem is continuously pushing on forward. He's just got so much stuff and firepower here with all of these Immortals. They're doing so much damage.
And now his Phoenix is getting right on top of it. There's only a few Hydras and Ravagers left. So low on health. Such a glass cannon type army from Ayasunu. And he's going to do his best to try to hold on to this fourth base. It's so critical for him. If he goes down a base versus Harstem, that's essentially the game. Ayasunu forming up his best positions as he can. Corrosive Biles go down. They're going to land right on top of these Immortals. It's a good start for Ayasunu, but it just looks like it could be a numbers game in Harstem's favor as units continue to sandwich. This is really nice for the Zerg player. All the drones coming off the line to try to fight. Is there enough? But no! GG is called.
And Harstem, look at that. Now he looks a bit more... I don't know, he looks kind of stressed, but I have to say, that was very well played.
A little shaken up. I mean, it was a very tense game.
It was. Those Phoenix, by the way, I just have to say, how sick were those pickups? Like, Ayasona was taking a fantastic fight. He was going with the corrosive biles and everything. But, yeah, like, without those Phoenix, he could have just kited and kept using those corrosive biles to kill off the Immortals. But with those pickups, like, he lost more than half his army.
Yeah, a lot of momentum gained there with those Phoenix, like you say. I think they're a great utility tool. Like, once your opponent has sort of fielded significant anti-air and stuff like that, you've got the Spore Crawlers and stuff already in position, so you can't really harass in the same way. They actually become a really powerful tool in that straight-up engagement, and that was an exact showcase of what we saw there. I mean, taking most of those... Ravages out of action, like right at the start of the fight, really turned things around there. So, in the end, Harstem picked up game number 1, guys, which means that we're going to be having 2 more games potentially here. Whoa, that was a bit of a hiccup.
Yeah, man. I mean, going for this, or rather, into this second series, I'd say this is a good start for my prediction. Harstem takes his 1 map. I think IA is going to close out the next 2. He looked so dominant. I think he just has to play his game. He needs to not be afraid to cheese. Like Harstem, he couldn't hold IA's cheese. And I think it's okay for IA to bust out those. We know he wants to be the super solid macro, like Snoot type foreign Zerg. But it's okay to go back to your cheesy roots. Provolone, mozzarella, cheddar, all of those powerful tools against a Protoss.
Yeah, you know a lot about cheese, though, I can hear. Runes of Ceres is going to be our next map, and on this we can see quite a few interesting things. I think Harstem might just be able to pack a bit of a blink all in if he wants to. I do think he has that, but the third and final map is soul crushing for Harstem. Like, I think Harstem actually needs to win Runes of Ceres, otherwise he can't play a macro game of Central Protocol. Like, there's no way.
I completely agree with you on that one, Alex. And I think, Blink would be a really, really good tool, a really good build here for this map. But again, you have to survive the mid-game versus Zerg on Ruins of Ceres, and that's the hard part, I'd have to say, especially versus a guy like Isona. Now, he did die here on Lorena, so after taking those 2 first cheesy victories in the first series they played, maybe he's going to go back to that.
Yeah, but, Ruins of Ceres, man. Ruins of Ceres is where we saw those crazy ling drops, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those maps, rather, because, I mean, there's a ton. Most of these maps...
no, I mean, actually, in this group. The Ruins of Ceres is where,
Yes,
is where
Isonu.
Isonu did the ling drops against Harstem, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Really cool timing. His speed finished like as the lings were unloading from the overlords. Just
And yeah, then he hit the front at the same time. So I mean, Harstem completely unprepared. Maybe we'll see him change things a little bit now. You know, for instance, getting a pylon in the main base to get that vision, and also have a pylon in the mineral line just to make sure that he can use that overcharge, because that was what really hurt him in the first time these two players showed off.
So something I want to mention, by the way, that I think Joe, you mentioned before, how Chinese players tend to play, or rather, Iasoni tends to play to the map. I want to mention something that a lot of people miss out on, and that's like a year or even 2 years back, the Chinese meta was only all-ins almost from the Protoss side, and we saw like every game was like a 5-gate or an 8-gate, every map, and Zergs just had to play very micro-intensive to hold those kind of all-ins, and as soon as you saw someone macro, you just went for a counter all-in. So the Chinese meta has been so aggressive and so all-in based that I want to say almost every player in China is very much like the player alive, I want to say, in Korea. They play a lot of tactics, like a lot of map-based strategies, and they use a lot of the high ground, low ground stuff, which a lot of players, I would say even like in Europe and North America, perhaps don't practice as much because they practice more like the strategical part of the game.
yeah, and I mean that gives you. I feel like when games get more chaotic, scrappier, crazier, as they are wont to do here in Legacy of the Void, I think that can give you a real advantage being a tactical genius versus more of a strategic player. Because those split-second decisions, the decisions that you get a moment to make instead of a minute, you're just going to make the right choices.
So, Lucas, when you're gonna make your bed?
Say what?
Nah. I just heard a few people wondering about your bed manners.
Stay-ho calling you out on your bad bed, Lucas.
Oh no. Well, you see, I'm a busy guy, so I don't really have time to make it in between all of the jousts. Now, anyway, so looks as if we're gonna get ready now for game number 2. Both of our players looking very tense, very focused. So we are now loaded in here to Ruins of Sarah as our first player down in the southern spawning position. It is going to be none other than Harstem, who's up 1 game in this best out of 3.
And his opponent spawning in the top right-hand corner, playing for Team Invictus Gaming. It is the Chinese Zerg Iasonu.
I can't believe one of these players. Like, I think we just need to back off for a second and realize that one of these players is not going to play in the main tournament. Like, that just feels wrong. Iasonu has to play. Like, he's the best player in China. How can he not play WCS Shanghai? And Harstem, like, it's every year's a year to Harstem. Like, you have to have Harstem in this tournament. He's like a bit of a foreign hope, you know.
Oh yeah, he's one of those guys that usually makes it out of the group stages and then doesn't do so well once we get into the bracket play. But it feels weird if Harstem doesn't make it out of group play. I believe he slogged his way through the open bracket though, and that's something Tenchi and I were talking about. Iasunu probably has a lot to study. I mean, open bracket is a lot of games. Snoot said there was over 200 people signed up, and even in a single limb bracket, man, that's a long day of StarCraft 2.
I remember
Oh,
that's
God.
just like for one bracket. There were 4 brackets. And I mean,
It sounds like old Code A, man.
yeah, just about. Like, we saw Harstem beating King Kong in the final stat, 2-0, and King Kong was the guy who managed to qualify through the wrong qualifier first. So, I mean, he's not a bad play either. Like, Harstem right now, I would say he's probably not as strong as you'd see in Heart of the Swarm for a while, but he is still one of our better foreign players, I want to say. Definitely.
Yeah, but Iasonu is also, as Tenchi and I have been talking this whole series, he goes macro, toe-to-toe with anyone in the world. He's not necessarily going to beat him, but I don't think there's anyone that can shut down IA and make him look bad. And that's like, for Chinese players to just go into those brutal macro slugfests with guys from Europe and Korea, players that play more macro-stable styles, IA never fails to impress me, and I'm hoping he can show it up right now.
I mean, we'll have to see how things go now, because I mean, it is going to be map number 2, which is match point here for Isonu. If he cannot take this map, he's out. So he's really going to have to bring his A game into this one. And you know, then of course he takes this map, then they're going to go into Old Reina And I think it is, of course, going to be a map that really is going to be favoring the aggressive playstyle of Isonu, but I mean, he has to get there first.
Yeah, now Iasono trying to get across that map, but no, not going to poke in. Harstem, on the other hand, adding on Stargate, and with this short rush distance, I think Stargate's absolutely a great choice. Vertical spawns, you're always good getting a unit very quickly across the map. Iasono, on the other hand, is maybe going for exactly the same thing, and Harstem could be a lot better prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, look, I really want to take a look at his base. Like, where does he have his pylons placed and stuff like that? Does he even have any pylon in the main right now?
It doesn't look like there's a pylon in the main. Phoenix going to be coming out, but it could hit too late if Iasono identifies that it is his time to go now.
Oh man, it's gonna be the dark build. This is gonna be super sick.
Man.
Is it gonna be enough though? Like Phoenix, I don't know. You'll get one lift, but that's gonna be it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Harstem, I know he lifts a lot, but is one lift gonna be it? I don't think so, guys.
these
Yeah, we're gonna
overlords have
see.
speed too. Oh, and Iasono even adding on a fourth one just to maybe mess with the AI, the decision making of Harstem. If he misclicks there, it could do a lot. And if that Phoenix isn't out patrolling on the map, then he's definitely going to be able to land these queens. And oh, this is such an exciting moment here.
Look at that, the
my
Phoenix
God.
is actually missing with one of the Overlords, and there's
Oh
no
my
way
God.
Harstem will have time enough to kill those. We see the Lings in the front as well. There's only one Adept right now in the way of these Lings, and Harstem has no vision on this coming in. Here we go, Iasono going for the drop.
Yeah, this is really important. The two pylons here are going to be super key for for Harstem to actually hold the main base. Now he's going for the link for the.
Oh,
man.
Mothership is down.
What? Okay, that's absolutely huge. He pulled the probes here, so he's cleaned up most of the links. The queens are eventually going to get taken out because with the photon overcharge and the phoenix lift, not going to be too much of a problem. But of course, the main base now coming under attack from the links, reinforcing from entering the natural, and so many probes are going to go down right now here for Harstem. Is he going to have enough to hold on though? These adepts actually doing a good job.
But probes continuing to fall. Lings are going to be streaming across the map. More Ling reinforcements come in. I assume it's going to continue piling on. Nothing but Lings. The big problem is he doesn't have any queens for injecting. He's adding them on back home right now.
my
This
God.
parade push will
Guys.
end eventually, but there's so much damage here coming out from IA, who's continuing to stream across, and I don't know what Harstem's supposed to do to stabilize.
Harstem's minerals have been so low throughout most of this engagement because he had to pull the probes there off mining. So as you can see, he's now only at 100 minerals. He can barely warp in any additional units. And Iasono, he's got a ton of minerals and he's just continuously sending in these Zerglings.
I can't look at this. He can't even mine properly. He can't actually afford warping in anything in the main base. We only see one Adept coming in, so he will eventually deal with the Zerglings. But this has been a catastrophe for Harstem. But if he can stabilize right here now, he's still ahead. Like, he's ahead in probes. We saw so many queens go down, and he's kind of stabilizing. IA, though, can start dropping into that main base.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to get back to there, Alex. Good that you mentioned that because, I mean, that's going to be so tough for Harstem to deal with if Iasono continuously made lings, but now he's going to grab that third base and he's started to resume droning. So from this point on, I guess he's going to try to go into like somewhat of a macro game, but still 10 more lings in production.
Yeah, and oh man, Iasono, I think these Lings now are just going to be kind of to control the map, make sure there's no deadly counter-aggression from Harstem. These Phoenixes could actually be a huge nuisance in IA's side as they continue to go around looking for overlords. But oh, Iasono, he knows every drop path, man. Look at this. He's going to come up from a very unusual angle, and I don't think Harstem's going to be expecting this.
Yeah, Harstem has a
Phoenix
lot
out
of
of
Phoenix.
position.
So the thing is with all these Phoenixes that he can technically deal with this really easily, but he needs to be in the right place at the right time, and he's currently not. He's trying to harass the drone line in the natural because he thinks this is over. But remember, when you're facing Iasono, the aggression is never over.
Yeah,
No, sir.
Iasono is happy to trade out his drones for having the Phoenixes on the wrong side of the map. Here comes the drop. Mothership core in position, but there's no pylons. All these probes will be forced to be pulled off the line, and now Speedlings flooding into the main of Harstem as Iasono's units now move from the natural back up the ramp into the main. This Mothership core trying to get into position. Photon overcharge does go down. It will cover the main mineral line, and that's really nice for Harstem. Iasono deciding if it's trying to pick off a few probes underneath the Photon overcharge. He does trade out a few Lings for another probe. This Photon overcharge fitting fast. I'm not sure if there's enough energy for another one. Not just yet at the moment. There will be by the time this one wears off, though. Iasono needs to be bouncing around, needs to find other engagement opportunities. He cannot continue to fight under the Photon Overcharge as he continues to look for any damage potential. Shades getting right on top of these Zealots. Very, very good for Harstem, and he's starting to stabilize even further as IA looks to be in a lot of trouble here in this match point.
I want you to note that Isona has constantly been making Zerglings through most of this game, like, been very, very few drones being added in. There you can see him sprinkle in 1 or 2 at a time, but it's mostly only Zerglings. And it's kind of awkward, right, because he's put himself in this position, because if he stops counterattacking or making units, the chances of Harstem just walking across that map and killing him, are pretty damn high. So he can't really commit to making a lot of drones, because he's forced to make all of these lings. But then if he stops making rather if he makes a big batch of drones, that's when he's gonna die. So
Yeah.
super weird position really here for Isonu.
Right now, Harstem, he's come across the map. Isonu's trying to drop into Harstem's base, but I just don't see this as being enough. He can just easily warp in 1-2 depths at home, and Isonu, how is he really going to hold this? He has virtually nothing. Harstem right now, shutting down the base mining. There's no spore here after that one goes down. And I think with this third going down, does Isonu actually just have to leave?
Yeah, it does look very grim for our Chinese Zergman. Photon overcharge and natural levels as well here for Harstem. Going to clean up those lings. So many adepts present. I mean, how do you challenge that? And of course, with the Phoenix support, you can see the utility of these lifts, taking these queens effectively out of action, and a ton of lings here for Isonu, but they can't challenge these adepts. They're just so powerful against them. And I mean, this might be all she wrote actually, because 59 supply to 108 here. Harstem significantly in the advantage spot.
But Lucas Iasunu is not done yet. He's going to move across this map, trying to force perhaps a base trade, adding on some roaches to try to stabilize at home, while counter-attacking with the Lings. The Phoenixes are going to come home, and they're going to be the defensive unit. Guys, did your stream just freeze? Because mine sure did.
Mine.
Yeah.
Oh man, what if they had to replay this game? Like Iasonu plugged out the internet. He's like, "It's time, guys, unplug it."
Alright guys,
I can't survive.
we're going to cut back to the caster screen for just a moment here. It does look like... There we go.
I'm just blindly going to say that I think Harstem's done this. 2-0 does look like it, because as things get cut out, it's a shame, but what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, once again, it's looking to be the same internet issue, which means we should be able to catch the tail end of this action, although the stream is trying to stabilize. Okay, we back, boys. Cutting back over to the stream now. Harstem's Phoenixes on the other side of the map doing damage to the probe line of Iasunu as IA continues to posture with these Zerglings. He's looking for counterattack potential. Maybe he can force some kind of crazy base race type scenario, but there's not a lot of damage opportunities for him as he continues to poke around with these Zerglings looking for anything that he can find, but Harstem's just not giving him any opportunities. There's no chink in the armor of our Danish Protoss.
It's just so tough for a position to find yourself in. And then, of course, I think that this is probably a big personal defeat as well for Isonu, because, I mean, he is the best Chinese player right now, I'd definitely say. And, I mean, getting taken out like this in the group stages, that's going to be it. That's GG. And Harstem, yeah, there we go, boys. Year of Harstem all over again. He manages to turn things around, get his revenge, 2-0 in the deciding game. Lots of lip bump. Oh, man, I love Harstem. He's such a guy.
Oh, Harstem is so awesome. The best ceremonies, and I have to agree. Like, as much as I want to celebrate Harstem, I think both of these should have played the main tournament. Harstem played absolutely fantastic. He managed to come through the qualifiers and everything. Beautiful play by our Netherlands player. But I have to say also, Iasonu, he was on home turf. This was his tournament to play. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I know as a caster we're supposed to be unbiased. I was rooting for it to at least go to the ace match, and I'm a little upset that Iasonu wasn't able to pull it off, but I have to give it to Harstem. He played flawlessly. Like, absolutely flawlessly, guys.
I really think the second game here, like the last one, really showcased that he had some pretty damn good crisis management, because he was losing a lot of probes, and there was so much pressure piling up and more links just flooding through his natural up into the main base. But he still kept it cool, and I think that's really one of the important things here to take a look at, because I mean experience and stuff like that really key when in one of those positions, but very well handled in the end there by Harstem, and managing to swing things back around in what looked like a very grave situation. So congratulations, and very well played of course to him, making it on through to join Petit Drogo. Our two foreigners, or our two non-Chinese, make it out of Group A.
I'm so happy to see Harstem though. Like, he's such a fun player, and having him like at the venue in the offline event is going to be a blast. Like, he's always one of those funny guys, and he's gonna. I think just him being there is gonna like enlighten the presence. Now, by the way, now we get to the groups. So as you said, Harstem, Petit Drogo, two so-called foreigners from here from China, going to make it through.
Yeah, guys. So in our next group tomorrow, which I will try to do from our U.S. studio, I have to go back to work today, see what kind of shape it's in, and see if I can put it together to cast StarCraft tomorrow. But I will either be casting from home or at the studio with Tempo. Group B will be Mystery, or Jeshi as he's also known, Sioris, the Mongolian player that qualified through the SEA qualifier, Haas, one of my favorite players of all time, incredibly cheesy, and then Tudaming, just a really solid Zerg.
Probably number 2 Zerg right now in China.
Yeah, that or Shigwa. Tenchi and I
yeah,
were arguing about that this morning.
It's like between those three guys, you know, like they keep rotating as top Zerg.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that's going to be all from us on Nursery Gamers. I've been Tenshi, and I've been joined by Zwig and Laguidus, or Pluguidus. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. It's been a blast, and I guess I will see you guys on the other side of the world.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to host Albatross. She's a map maker, makes lots of cool maps. I think she usually streams her map making, and I assume that's what she's doing right now. So you can check her out if you're into the community map making scene. It's good to get to know some of the people with some visibility like that instead of just pros. So I'm going to give some exposure to that. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to check out Tenchi and I on Twitter. Zoeg, you can throw your Twitter into chat. We don't have a place to put it on our overlay. We'll
Wow.
see you tomorrow, guys.